Today's August 12th, 2020. What is it, 24? It is
Today's
right,
the 12th.
right? Huh?
Today's the 12th.
That's what I said. Okay, good. Anyway, we're in here. We have Dr. Butler, Dr. Lowe, Leasa Johnson, and the three stewards, Don Roush. What the hell's your name? Jeff Wexler. And myself, Violet Smith. We're in here for a little discussion about a few things that took place. And of course, everybody runs to the stewards, and we just want to address a few things with everybody. Friday, I know that you girls were concerned, I don't know if you were involved, but you girls were concerned about the racetrack. Don received a call. He went down there, got the riders involved, and as far as I know, he thought it was all taken care of. What we have to make you guys understand is that there's a protocol in place on something that's wrong with the racetrack, and it has to basically come from the riders. They need to call us. We need to get management involved. We have to go down there with the steward, and we have to discuss what goes on. They have a certain period of time that they have to give track people a chance to fix the racetrack. I'm going to let Don take over here because he did get the phone call. He did go down, and we kind of were sitting up there in the dark waiting for him to come back to find out what was going on. So if Don can kind of tell you what his part was, we'll go from there. But I wanted you guys to understand that we have to do it the way that it has to be done, because there's a Jockeys Guild thing that's involved with management, the stewards, and everybody like that. So we just wanted you to know we got to follow it, because we caught a lot of flack over it. Go ahead, Don.
All right, so when I was down there with the riders, there was that indention or trench that was, and it was prevalent on the track, and the riders saw it as well. But we were already close to an hour behind schedule on the races. And myself and the riders, we only had 3 races left for the day. And the riders were like, we're good with it. Let's just get through today. Just get this thing harrowed and let's go. Let's just get through all the races. We agreed on that. They went to the room. I went to the steward stand. And then next thing I know, the harrows are going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm wondering what is going on, because the horses were already in the paddock for a certain amount of time. And then they got to the track, and then they were sitting on the track. And as you guys know, with Lasix,
they were back there for a long time.
They were back there for a long time, and that's an unfair advantage. And as you guys know, as vets, with the Lasix, we're under time constriction. And now horses are going to start dehydrating because it's been over the 4 hours or whatever for their Lasix administration. So I get a call from the riders that are like, we thought we agreed that we were going to run as is and deal with the track situation tomorrow. I said, I thought that's what the deal was too, but
so
apparently
who
not.
called Tony out then with the harrow?
That would be Oscar.
I would say somebody had to have called Tony out then to work the track with the harrow, right?
It
So where did
wasn't-
he get that information from? Because I mean, I didn't know what was going on until they were out on the jockeys were out on the track and everything. But
Okay.
if you guys didn't call, someone had to have called for him.
You know, and really,
Huh.
I would have got management involved, but the riders were like, let's just get through it. We don't need, it's not that bad, let's just harrow it. No, go ahead, Lisa.
No. So we're out there talking about it. You bring the riders out.
Right.
Oscar comes up and is paying attention. Oscar's the one that gets on, is calling, repeatedly calling the guy on the tractor. He didn't answer his phone. He didn't answer the the radio, and he just kept going and going. He kept calling and calling and calling, and then finally he got on the radio and said, "Answer your phone." That's how the Harrows got involved.
Oh, okay. Because I want you guys to understand what they were doing. They were just harrowing that one spot.
Yeah.
Well, now the optics to everybody else, guess whose horse was running down that lane?
Yep, you just groomed that spot of the
No,
track.
they did both spots. They did the 1 hole and
Yeah.
9 hole.
Yeah,
And
but
so
but
did
they
both
were
holes.
just the optics to
But I-
everybody else. So now we're getting slack on it. They're like, well, you guys are fixing the track for Togekeep. We're like,
Oh,
we didn't even know where. We don't even pay attention to whose
This-
horses are where.
Yeah.
And then this is what I'm trying to tell you. You guys don't understand what comes to us. And it all got blamed on you.
Of course it did.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys ain't track men. You need to stay in your lanes, vets and investigator. If you see something, call him like you did, which was good. But we got a lot of flack, let me tell you. And it was all Leasa and Toby Keaton's relationship, supposedly, and she had this all done because, you know, he was out in that lane, and then of course the horse had to qualify, and nobody had been qualifying because the track was crappy. Okay? So this is the stuff that you guys don't understand comes to us, and we're the ones that have to deal with it. So we have to let you guys know if you see something like you did call Dawn, that was fine. Call us, let us deal with it. Let us do the protocol that needs to be done. Let the jockeys get in there, and if the jockeys are out there. These guys have ridden for years. They know what they'll ride over and what they won't ride
So I think
over.
that's kind of what was done. I think the problem right now is Oscar calling the Harrows back out on the track. I don't see how this is.
I had
mean, if
nothing
we
to do
called-
with that.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
so-
See,
and this
we-
is
And I think
my,
that's part of the
That's
puzzle
why
is
we brought
nobody
you guys
knew
in,
that.
because
Like,
That's
how did
what-
we know he
Oscar.
came out? Right.
that's exactly what I'm trying to
Oscar
say.
was on
Wait, let me finish. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. If that's what was taking place, we should have been a call. Me and him were sitting up there
I
wondering,
did call. I did what I thought was right.
So
Well-
I'd like to say something. You didn't call the presiding steward, so she's in the dark upstairs. You got a protocol to go through. Call the presiding steward. I understand you did what you thought was the right thing, but we're up there in the dark. It's like really a problem for us.
Well, why
You're
didn't you
not all
call me?
together?
I mean, why didn't you
because
call
we're
me?
not down there. That's
I said
you
they're not
guys are the
together. I don't know
ones
how it works up
that
there.
called initially,
Right.
correct?
Correct. So
Okay.
if you had a question, you should have called me.
Well, we were sitting there waiting for Don to come back because he'd went down there, and he got a phone call. He says, they said there's a trench in the track, and out the door he went. So we're sitting up there for 30 minutes trying to figure out what's going on. He gets back. He said the jocks came. Everything's good. We're going. So we're like, okay, what's going on? What we needed was a phone call from somebody to say, hey, Oscar's the one called for these guys
I did call. I called Don again, and I said that Oscar was going to have the track guy go over the track.
So once
I
again,
thought he was gonna go over it once. I
Just
didn't
that,
think
yeah,
he was
just
gonna
the
go
one
back
time.
and forth.
And that's what the riders understood, that right where that deal was,
Right.
one time, and then let's go.
But then he got sent back down there.
So it was Oscar that kept having them go back and back and back
Okay,
and
and
back.
we're gonna pass that on, but
Okay.
that's why we're here today, is because I need you guys to stay in your lanes, okay? We try not to get in your stuff, and you guys gotta let us know what's going on. If you see something, we don't have a problem with calling, and we'll try to help you. That's what we're here for. But the authority, for some reason, seems to have wavered from the stewards not being involved in a lot of stuff that we need to be involved in. And you, Dr. Butler, used to call us when anything happened out there. We have never get a phone call from you, okay? When those kind of things happen out on the track, we need to know, because we're the ones getting the phone call and we're sitting up there going, well, I don't know. Really? Okay, it makes us look like a bunch of dummies. And we need to know what's going on. And that's all I'm saying to you guys. Please, keep us informed. And we try to help you if we see something. We're up high. We can see these horses coming back where you guys are ground level. And I know you can see things, but sometimes we see things. We try to help you. If you don't want our help, I got no issue with that. Okay? And I don't know what happened with the horse that, was hitting his head, and which kind of basically started a downward spiral for the whole day when, the ambulance was called for back there. I don't know if you would have informed us, we would have been able to answer people's questions, but
Whose people's questions or what people's questions?
we get all kinds of questions. What was going on with that horse,
But in the moment, was that necessarily, I guess that's the hard part for me, is in the moment when I have a horse that's bleeding out in front of me on the track and I'm trying to help our crew be safe, I'm trying to make sure that the rider's okay, I'm making sure the horse is okay, I'm calling her to get an attending vet up there, I'm calling the test barn to figure, there's a lot of different parts to it too, and I completely understand your request to at least get a phone call, at least after the fact of
Yeah.
hey, what happened, what was going on, so that you guys
Right.
will fill in. I get that 100%.
Okay, number
And I'm
one,
sorry
I want
never done
to.
that. But
Okay.
sometimes in the moment, it's kind
We
of.
and
it's
you
kind of
guys
hard.
have to understand. We have those moments
Yeah.
too up there. There's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on, and we understand that. But number one, the rider isn't your concern. That's why
It is
they're.
if he's on the ground and the horse is laying next to him and I have to euthanize the horse and a rider's laying there, so yes, that is important to me.
Well,
And that's a
that
communication between the medics and the crew and
There you
everybody
go.
else with the screens, and so no, it's not like I'm worried or concerned about the rider, but it's more of just the logistics of if we have a rider down and a horse down, of trying to coordinate that and making sure that if I euthanize a horse and he decides to have a seizure or decides to
Right.
try and get up, that we're
Yeah.
not trampling a rider that's incapacitated.
and I
So,
understand that completely.
But
Okay.
so I didn't mean like I'm trying to take care of the rider, because that's the medic's job for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we just didn't understand when that horse threw the fit like he did, why there wasn't something done then. They kept loading horses.
Because it
And-
took a good 60 seconds before that horse even started bleeding. I didn't think he hit his head that hard, but obviously did.
Did, he
And that's what it
fractured
is. So,
Yeah.
but it took that long for that horse to even show any signs of any issue.
Okay, and
Unfortunately, and thank God we had horses loading still, because if that horse would have been sent down the track, we would have had a really bad wreck, I'm sure.
right. Okay, so what happened to the protocol that when we see something happen like that, we unload them, walk them around and look at them, and then put them back
I
in?
do that if I feel like it's a concern. I didn't feel like that one was a concern at the moment that he did it. But these gates are also different, and that's been something that's been brought up. The padding in these gates is absolutely ridiculous. The safety in the gates and the ambulances at this track, it blows my mind, to be honest with you. And that was a huge adjustment for me. I didn't realize that in the gates, how differently they're padded. And any of these horses that fight rigs here, there's,
That's why they
they're
shouldn't think it's
on
gonna get
full
shit.
metal.
'Cause it was
And I
kinda
had
really-
no idea, I didn't even know, that was not something that I had looked at until we had the first one, he really hurt himself in the gate, and I was like, how is this happening? Because they fight rigs and,
So
but,
in that situation, Doc, if you feel like there's a safety issue with the padding, the gates, anything like that,
yeah,
call me,
Okay.
because this is a mixed meat,
okay.
and the thoroughbreds, I can get a
fall
hold of
under-
Liza,
Okay,
and
Okay.
we can get that fixed.
okay.
I'd asked for ambulance to be staged down there down the hill by the gate, because we
The
have a
horse
problem.
ambulance,
Yes.
Mhm.
that's not a bad idea, have
They
one over
did
there,
that
and the other one over
yesterday,
there.
and I think that helped a lot.
Here's what I'm saying. You're asking for somebody to do something. Come to us.
Okay.
We're the ones that can get this stuff done.
Okay,
We are in charge. I know people don't realize that, but we are. So we need to be aware of what's going on.
Okay.
We heard about somebody asking for the ambulance to be down there after the fact. but nobody says
No, I
anything to
asked
the
for it
stewards.
Friday.
I said we learned about it after the fact.
Well, I contacted Don and I asked him, I said, you know, it seems like it would be reasonable with the quarter horses that we seem to have problems with them in the gate because it took so long for them to get there for that one that was bleeding out. And he goes, well, I'll think about it. That's all I got.
See, and
Okay.
to kind of go back on what Pinky was saying, I know you're in the moment and this horse is bleeding out, but we're getting calls, you know, that horse is 50 feet or 50 yards away from the gap. Why do we need an ambulance to go all that way when he's just right there? If we know that horse is bleeding out, we can say, this horse is bleeding out. He needs an ambulance. He needs a ride. And we can do.
Or I can just start calling them so you don't have, because you're dealing with 1,000 calls. If you want me to,
Right.
you call me and I'll just make, that way we have a set plan. I'll call them every time. Because you've got 30 calls coming in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get a hold of the trainer and trying to get a hold of
Right.
that. And,
So
we
Yeah,
get
we
that.
understand that.
So
Yeah.
we'll do that. It's,
Yeah.
she'll call me and I'll call y'all. And
Okay.
it's, we know for sure we have a plan, because
Okay.
like the phone call she gets is crazy after a
Right.
horse gets messed up in
Oh,
the gate.
absolutely.
Oh, we understand
We know
that,
that.
but the other thing is, we
Is that
watched
right?
this on the video, and you never walked around the front of the gate until all the horses were loaded.
there's a lot of times I stand behind the gates.
I understand
they
that,
load.
but if you got one slamming his head against the gate, don't you think you need to run around there as quickly as you can? We saw you come after the horses were basically all loaded, and like you said, if he'd have hammered the button, we'd have had a mess. So, especially when horses are slamming their head, obviously you're going to want to see if they're bleeding out the front.
Yeah,
Not
the
they're
gates are
not going to
definitely
be
a
bleeding
tricky
out the
spot to
back.
be in, 'cause there's 8 million different views, and believe me, there's been plenty of them that from where I'm standing at, your visibility's tough. And then I see the video that you guys have, you know, of the headshot, and you're like, whoa. Okay, I mean, so it's hard. The gates are definitely tricky, and it's I feel like I change depending on which horses go into, because there's plenty of them that I know that are going to be a problem, and you know, it's the gates are definitely a challenging place to manage all of them.
And we know that those riders hate to have them horses unloaded, but it can be a safety issue for the horse that could have been hurt.
Yep.
So unload them. I mean, we have to unload them a lot of times. And if something throws a fit like that horse did, I mean, you know, if these guys sling their head a little bit or sit down on their butt and they get right back up, we understand that. That's fine. But if one's slinging his head and beating his head against the side, which
I normally scratch those right away, and I don't even back them out, and then I get in trouble for not backing them out before I scratch them.
and that's
so
what
it's
I'm
hard.
saying. This is protocol, and this is the stuff that we get all the crap about. Well, she didn't even back my horse out and look at him. Okay, so let's understand that we need to do that. That gives these trainers the satisfaction that you actually looked at their horse and saw something or whatever, okay? And I know they're all
Perspective
gonna
is key, I get
scream,
that.
oh, we don't wanna back these horses out, because I've been there, I know that. But sometimes that's what it needs to be
Because to
done.
all these guys back here, it's all about optics.
Mm-hmm.
And they just need the most minute things. Well, they let this horse, my horse did the same thing, backed mine out, scratched it. This horse did the same thing, didn't back him out, and he ran down the track. Which is, and that's how they are. You guys know how they are back there.
And we understand, it's a call that you have to make that quick.
Right.
We understand that. But I think that, you know, and you can tell back there, you know, that these things are rattling that gate pretty good, or whatever the case may be. Cholo knows, Ringo knows, you're probably not working for Ringo, but, with Ringo, but they know. Back them horses out of there and let's at least give them the benefit of the doubt. Walk them around just a loop. If you don't say anything, fine. But at least
There are some
we
that hit
can,
their head and you don't see anything anyway, and they need to be scratched. But if I need to back them out and watch them walk in a circle and then scratch them, I can do that too. But same things with ones that completely flip over, lose their bridle, lose their rig, are on their back upside down. Like, you better wait for me to scratch that one until we get a halter on it, we get it up, we back it out of the gate, and I look at it and then scratch it.
Well,
So if we're gonna be
you're
consistent, it needs to be
you're going a
consistent
little
all
extreme,
the
okay?
way.
You're going
Okay.
a little extreme. Okay,
Okay.
when these horses are flipped over and their legs are going over the bars this way and over the bars this way, obviously,
Well, if one hits their head that hard in the gate, I don't have to back it out to know that it needs to be scratched. That's my argument, and I'm not trying to argue just to argue, but I'm also saying I feel like I'm making good calls and I'm doing my job and I'm doing a good job at it. But I also appreciate your feedback, and I will do that. But it's hard when I go to back one out, or we're waiting to back one out, and you're on the radio asking me, what are we doing with this one, Doc? Well, last time you told me I needed to back it out and look at it. And now all of a sudden, I feel like I'm getting scrutinized because I didn't scratch this one right away when you feel like it should have been scratched right away. So I feel like that's a challenge for me. I'm trying to figure out which story I need to follow for.
well,
a
I don't
protocol
think
that I
it's
feel like
that
I-
difficult myself.
What was that?
I don't think it's that difficult myself. When
So we can all
what
stay in our
I'm
lanes, and I'm a veterinarian, and I know what I'm looking at, and I know what I see on the track, and I know what I see in the gate, and I'm confident in my decision, whether
Well-
or not I back the horse out and watch it walk around in a circle.
What I'm trying to tell you, when those horses are flipping, they're upside down, they're pawing here, they're trying to turn around and stuff like that. That's the ones we have no issue if you call and scratch them.
Okay,
We understand that. I mean, and you have to understand that I don't want you scratching them at the drop of the hat if you feel that you want to look at it and everything like that. That's what we're trying to get to you.
okay,
When a horse is slinging his head, it's very difficult to tell what kind of damage he might have done.
know that you can take the time, back them out.
That's
look at
what
it,
I'm
see
trying
what
to
happens.
explain to
The
you.
obvious
Absolutely.
scratches are the obvious scratches, like she said,
Yeah.
and if you hear one just pounding in there, but you didn't have a good angle to see what he actually did or
Okay.
the severity of it, those are the ones we're asking, just, all right,
Sounds
hey,
good.
I need to look at this one, back them out,
Okay.
guys. And
Yeah, and
Yep.
and
look.
maybe
And we
in that
got no
minute,
issue with
Well,
that.
and that's like that one. I mean,
maybe
like,
in that
yeah, I
minute, all of a
mean,
sudden you see, oh, he's bleeding, okay,
Yep.
so.
yep.
And, yeah, and.
I do get it. I'm sorry if I'm a little
No, it's-
touchy about it, but I see what you're coming from. I get it.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it really helps because then the trainer, like I stated before.
Feels like, hey, you at least gave it an honest effort. You gave my horse a
Exactly.
chance.
Benefit of the doubt.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's what we're asking.
Okay.
Anything,
One more thing I want to add is on the scratches. The pre-vets, not worried about it, but anytime there's a stake scratch, temp, colic, even though they do their attending send the reports in, the trainers, we're the ones that have to sign off on it. If we don't sign off on the scratch card, that horse isn't scratched yet. They have to contact us.
well,
We're the last ones.
I just want to interject something here. We have, when she's doing a pre-race thing,
We don't need it from the trainer.
right, she's
That's what I
sending it
said.
to, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
as long as we do it that way, we have no issue with that.
So
Okay.
what do we-
And we've
what do we
had
need to-
trainers too where you go and do exams and like, oh, we're scratching this horse. And I'm like, okay, did you go in and turn in a scratch card? Like,
So that's where the
asking
problem
them.
is.
Like,
I
and
know.
they're like, oh, yeah, we did. And I'm like, are
They
you
don't
sure?
want to do their job,
No,
I'm
Now I've
sorry.
been calling after that one the Friday maybe, or last week. I don't know, it was supposed to be a scratch and they didn't tell y'all until like 3 races before.
Right.
And so now, after that day, which was just, I think it was this weekend. Okay, that
Yes,
seems like
it
so
was.
long
No, it
ago.
was.
Everything.
I think it was Friday.
Melts into the
I think it was
net.
Friday.
So since then, I called you, I think I called you and hey, we have another stakes, we have 2 stake scratches, just so
Right.
y'all are aware.
Yes,
So, okay,
And
so
we
if we go
appreciate
to
that
a barn
because
and they
Absolutely.
say, hey, we've scratched this horse, we're doing this, then we should just send it to you right then and there so that you at least know, hey, by the way, you should be getting a scratch card if you haven't gotten one already on this horse.
Right, I
Yeah.
remember
and
it was
she's
last.
been doing that.
Yeah,
She's
so you
okay,
been
so I'll do
doing
that.
that.
I'll do that too.
Or you can tell
Okay.
me and I'll-
You can let them know
Okay.
that horse isn't scratched till you guys see the stewards and hand them a card. 'cause
Yeah.
they have to sign off
Yeah.
on it.
And that's where I'm like, did you
Or
sure?
call
You
us.
turn it
They don't
in?
have
Did
to
you
come
turn it
in, but they
Okay.
need to contact us.
Okay.
Did y'all find Trey for the second time?
He finally
yeah.
called me.
Oh yeah, he finally called, but I told him, I said, we already took it out on a failed to show for pre-race.
Yeah.
$500 fine, thank you very much. You know, you guys need,
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
not you guys,
Yeah, they gotta
but
start-
we're like,
No.
you
Yeah.
guys need to take care of your business.
In fact, I think it was Trey that was last Saturday or Sunday that
No, it
called
was
us.
Heath,
but-
wasn't it?
Was it Heath or Trey? I want to say it was Trey.
Oh, could have
And
been.
it was a stake. He said, I want a stake scratch this horse. And it's like 3 races before that horse was in.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was this weekend.
That was this weekend on
Yeah,
Friday.
both times.
Something.
So it's Trey.
Something, yeah.
but we got him a little citation yesterday, and he
it's
said,
gonna
well, I
cost
knew
him
it was
this time."
coming. Because we had him on the phone. He calls us, it's 20 minutes to 12.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? We've been here since 8 o'clock in the morning, and now we're just getting this? This horse is supposed to have been scratched since 7 o'clock this morning?
Right.
You know, it's just, I don't understand why these guys get by with what they get by with.
Especially when you, well,
Did,
8 people
Clayton
standing
McCook
around when
come in
they're
and talk
talking
to you
about that
guys?
one.
I'm sorry?
Did Clayton McCook come in and talk to you about something about scratching?
Never seen him. I don't know the
Well, I
guy.
got a call when I was in Dallas, and he was upset because he didn't know that he had to do a scratch card and all this kind of stuff. And I said, because I guess things have been taken care of differently and at different racetracks. And I just said, well, go talk to the stewards and find out what they are requiring you to do here. I said, you know, go ask them. So I do tell people to come see you.
Okay.
Whether they do it or not, I don't know.
I know which one that is. That was on the Heath Taylor when we called it Heath in
Mhm.
California.
Mhm.
That's the horse they had hooked up to all the IVs.
Something. Yeah, the one that was hooked up to IVs.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
sad.
All right, we know you ladies got to go do a job,
Yeah, I
so
gotta go
thank
pull
you
hair.
for coming. And I just wanted to hope that we could, you know, kind of get a little better communication between
thank you.
everybody.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
All
Well, I
right,
want
that's
to put
a,
one thing on record, that I do not have a relationship with any trainer on the backside, except for a professional one.
I
Enough said.
agree.
It, I hear what you're saying, but other people,
I don't give a fuck what they say.
yeah, well,
I'm
that's,
tired of it. I'm all over Facebook saying I'm sleeping with Toby Keaton in the fucking truck. I'm over it. I'm done with it.
right,
I
I
understand.
hear you.
But that's why we're here, because this is what we got.
Well, and I
and
spouted
we,
off to somebody that was complaining to me, and I said, you know what? I said I did what I thought was right because of a safety issue. If you have a complaint, go file it. That's what I said, so obviously they did.
okay, yeah, they did. Okay,
Can you
ladies,
get that
thank
video
you.
for us?
Oh,
All right, let the record show that today is August 16th, year 2024. Time is approximately 9:10 a.m. We are in the steward's office at Albuquerque, Downs?
Downs at Albuquerque.
Downs of Albuquerque, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Present today are Tony Fetty. Mr. Fetty is the chief of security here at Downs of Albuquerque. We have tractor driver Jose Lopez, safety and compliance director Oscar Renteria, and president of racing Don Cook. Also present today are stewards
Jeff Waxler,
Don Roush.
and myself, Violet Smith. We're here to discuss a situation that happened on August 9th, prior to the 12th race. And what I'd like to do is start with Oscar. You were down on the track at that time, is
Yes,
that correct,
I
sir? Okay. Can you kind of explain to us what was taking place?
Well, when I ride to the track, there were 2 other jockeys. There was Leasa and the vet down there. And I asked what's going on. And Leasa said, well, we're having some problem with some areas on the track. And then she walked over and said, look, here and here. And I told her, well, the tractor's already passed. What do you want to do? And she said, well, I want the tractor to come back and we'll go over these places. And I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, we'll do it. And that's when I called Tony and asked him to come back and they'll show him what areas they want him to go through again.
So Leasa Johnson instructed you to have the tractors come back over the racetrack?
That is correct.
Okay. Did Dr. Butler or Dr. Lowe say anything?
Lisa turned to Lo and said, wasn't there a problem there? And she said, yes.
Okay.
She did ask Dr. Lowe.
Okay. Were you able to get a hold of this gentleman?
Yes, I called him over the radio and asked him that the investigator wants him to come back and go over the areas again. He said, okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, were you there, sir?
I was on the track, but not on the track, but I was in the grandstand that day. I didn't find out anything.
Okay.
about this
This,
till
for the
later.
record, that's Tony Fetty speaking. So you were there, but you weren't involved in the
I was not
situation?
involved. I got involved afterwards. Days afterwards, I was apprised of what took place.
Oh, okay. Is there anything that you want to add to what?
My only question is, why is an investigator that has nothing to do with track maintenance directing track maintenance?
That's why we're investigating. That's why we're getting,
We're
trying to find out, we're trying to get everybody's, testimony here that, as to what exactly took place, and then I think things will be addressed. So, Mr. Lopez,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, what do you recollect on that day, sir?
I remember the rain after the 12th race. It rained like cats and dogs. But on this issue, I was just driving. We was coming back because we park all the time in the small chute. We was coming back, and they said, "Hey, could you go over this spot?" So I went out of my lane and went over the spot. I don't know what it was. I don't, we've been going all day. No jockeys were playing. The horses were going good. But after 12 races, maybe there was something. I don't know. Sometimes you could grab a piece of wood or something, trash, piece of,
Yeah.
So I just assumed that they just wanted me to just drive over it, and I did. And I turned around, and that's all I did. I mean, I didn't see no spot. I didn't feel no spot.
Okay. Did you get to the instructions from Oscar?
Yeah, I'm over the radio. I'm pretty sure it was over the radio.
Oh, okay, okay.
That was the first day of travels.
Do you recall what he said to you
He
when?
said that they would like you to go over over right here by the winner circle one more time.
Okay.
So I went from where I was at, and I went over there, and
I think it was the paddock, not the winner circle.
it was winner circle.
The paddock.
Maybe the paddock, yeah. See, I just followed orders. Yeah, I mean,
You're good.
the rain
Yeah.
came. The only thing I remember about that day is that rain. That rain is the only thing I remember, and thank goodness for them jockeys that they actually, put them cowboy boots on and finished the day.
Yes, sir. We
Yeah,
appreciate
the
that.
rain's
too.
really not
The issue.
our concern. Yeah, we're worried about the 12th race, what happened.
Like I said, I just followed orders.
Prior
Followed
to.
orders. I mean,
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody complained to you guys. The jockeys didn't complain. Nobody complained but this lady, right? And I don't even know who she is, but I did exactly what she told me, what she told Oscar to do. I did it just to comply. Just just to comply.
So I have one question. When Oscar called you on the radio, did Oscar say the investigator wants you to go?
Yes, he said Lisa, the investigator Lisa. He actually called her by name. You see, I saw them walking on the track, and I was getting ticked off because I thought they were checking checking it to see if it was all even.
Can you tell me where that, I'm sorry to interrupt, can you tell me what part of the track, was it the inside or the outside?
That they were checking?
Yes.
They walked all the way across. And I was like, everybody there, I said, hey, who the hell are these guys, checking my track? Checking the track, not my track, the track. Because we were trying to make it fair, even,
Sure, sure.
And so I just complied because I didn't want to get into an argument over the radio because I was like, we already had 12 races. And it looked like it was going pretty damn good, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, you guys watch races every day.
What, was it prior to the 12th race or after?
I think it was prior.
Prior to.
No, yeah, I think it was prior.
The rain came
Okay.
after.
Yeah, the rain came after. The last two races, we got lucky.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Oscar specifically said her name, an investigator. Okay.
Yeah, and if she would have called me, maybe I wouldn't listen to her, but Oscar, he's on our team. I trust his judgment, so if he tells me, go ahead and do this for us,
Uh-huh.
I did it for him, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Did you see any issue with the racetrack?
No, I didn't, but I know that sometimes after so many races, you know, some things can, you know, a piece of trash, something could happen, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Somebody's hair would get, some mud could get clogged up in there.
sure.
So I was like, maybe something simple, because I know it's nothing major, because the bottom was there. The bottom was there even when it rained. We had a safe track that day.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Okay. Thank you for that. Do the stewards have any questions of any of these gentlemen?
I do. Let's start with Oscar.
Yes.
Was there a steward down there when you
Not
were?
when I went up there, no.
Okay, and did you have any difficulty getting a hold, is it Jose?
Yes,
Did you have any difficulty getting in touch with Jose? Did you do
No,
it?
I
were
just
you
called
on-
them in the radio.
Right, so there was no phone call or your phone, you weren't, let me rephrase it. Prior to that, were you, how do I say it, were you on your phone at any time talking to any?
I don't think that day. I think the next day I did, because the next day I had some issues with the radio. But I mean, not that day. That day we were all nervous. We were on pins and needles, and everything was going good. So when things are going good, you kind of don't want to ruffle up the feathers. You know, you just want everything to keep on going.
Right.
That's why I took it as an insult when people were walking down there. I was like, what the hell are they doing? Because you know, so that's you don't want. It's like you know, things are going good. Just let it keep on rolling.
Got
you
it.
know how it goes. You
Got
want to get out of here by 5. You know.
Yeah.
Safe. Out of here
Gotcha.
by 5 and safe.
And I have
Gotcha.
one more
Hang on.
question before Don. Prior to you, or Lisa directing you, did you see a couple of jockeys and one of our stewards, Don, out there on the track?
No, when I went forward was because I saw 2 jockeys walking up. And usually when you see jockeys walking up, I always follow them because they're going to the track. Why?
Right.
And then they told me, well, they tell me there's some issue on the track. I said, okay, so I followed them through. Then Don called me and he told me, what are you doing? So they said, I'm gonna go up there and see what's going on. Because he saw people on the track. And then I told him, I'll let you know what's going on, that's why I'm following them. He said, okay, let me know. And then I hung up. But when I went up there, Lisa's the one that started telling us.
So when you went up there, were you done?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you went up there and you saw the jockeys, did you have any kind of discussion with them at any time, or did you just kind of listen to what was going on?
I just listened what's going on, then Lisa said, well, there's a problem here, there's a problem there. And I looked at it and walked across, I said, okay, I said, but the tractor's already passed. I said, what do you want them to do? She said, I want them to come back and go over it again. I said, okay.
As far as you know, but when she said that, was that after I had been there with the other 3 riders, the guild reps?
I had to have been because I
Okay.
really don't remember seeing you. I think that happened before the Lisa situation when the jockey went up. I don't know which jockeys went with you or what, but I just followed those jockeys up. And nobody did anybody call me or anything. And obviously they didn't call Don because he called me, you know, when I was going up there. So we didn't know what was going on till I got there.
Right, right.
And the jockeys were kind of saying it, but it was kind of hyped up.
Do you happen to know which jockeys you were?
I don't recall which ones. Right
Just
now,
to kind of reiterate what Jeff was asking you, so there was no communication lapses or problems when you were trying to get a hold of Jose? There was
No, I called
You got
him
a hold of
and he
them right
answered
away.
right away. And I told him, you know, the investigator Lisa wants you to come back and show you what area she wants you to run back. And he said, okay.
And there was no communication lapses or problems with...
Not that I have with him, no.
Okay.
Okay, so my question to you was, did you try to call this gentleman on the phone?
No, we have radios.
Okay,
No.
so no phone calls to him. You actually were on the phone with Dawn
Well,
at
not when I was
some
on the track, was as I was going to the track.
Gotcha. Okay, so did you ever say on the radio to this gentleman, answer your phone?
No.
Okay.
That was the next day. think you might be thinking about the next day. The next day, that's when he said answer my phone because I was talking to somebody else and he was trying to call me about the radio. Because the next day we had an issue with the radio.
Okay,
Okay.
no
So,
problem,
I mean,
thank
I
you.
remember that. I remember
That's
that
not, it just came up.
Yeah. It wasn't that day though. That day.
Perfect.
That day I remember everything till the rain. And then, like I said, but I mean, the jockeys, they had a problem. I mean, I don't know. I still haven't heard nothing yet.
Okay,
I went over and I didn't feel nothing, and I did exactly what they told me to do. So I don't know what else. I mean,
and we appreciate
Yeah,
that, thank you very
absolutely.
much. Don, did you have something? Did you have a question, or?
I guess my question is why are we here? Why are we having this hearing?
We are having it,
And who called it? Did you three call it? Did the racing commission call it? Who called this hearing?
We wanted to we have had the investigator in here and the two vets trying to understand because this exploded really big. And we, what happened on our end was he got the phone call from Leasa. He went down, got the jockeys, and Jeff and I are sitting up there waiting to hear what's going on. And Don came back up and said, our Don came back up and said that the jockeys were good to go and we were ready to go. And then, you know, the tractor kept going back and forth, so we didn't understand what was going on.
Right.
We're trying to investigate how this situation developed, who said what, and everything, because we are trying to investigate the situation to get to the bottom of it, because it was not a good thing.
Okay, but is there a question about who did what in this thing? I mean, okay, I'm gonna tell you, this come from my boss. You know, he's gonna file a sanction against your investigator. Okay, and maybe you might have heard that already. Okay. First of all, I should have been the first person contacted. We have protocol
Absolutely.
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
the thoroughbred. Jose calls Al calls me. Don, get down here. They want to talk to you.
Right.
I just stumbled across it because I happened to look out the curtain. Actually, I went up to the office and Dawson said there's a delay, and I thought a horse turned over or something.
Right.
Then my biggest problem, now I'm looking out the window. After we heralded the track, after Antonio came back and did it again, with my own eyes, Lisa walked by like on that racetrack. And I told Oscar, tell her to get her off the track now. And Oscar was on the phone with me and he says, Lisa, get off the track. It's already been heralded. So, we got a big problem.
That's why we're
So,
looking into it.
We understand protocol was not followed.
Yeah, and so my question is, why is she not here in this hearing right now?
Because we've already had them in to, you know, get to the bottom of what their side of the story was, and we felt it appropriate to find out
Can I ask you what their side of the story was? Or is that going to be a different hearing?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of hesitant to really disclose what happened in that one. I think right now we're under investigation, and I think I'm going to turn this over to our boss and then let him go from there. You understand what I'm saying there?
Okay.
I don't think this is on the stewards. I think what we're trying to do is gather information as to what happened on that day and who did what, so we can make it clear to the people we have to answer to.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Okay?
Yeah, and I would, I'm sure you can't produce it right now. I'd like to see the job description of a racing investigator.
That should be,
Okay, Okay. No, I mean.
I know you
Because
are,
I'm gonna
sir.
tell you, in 1996, I was a racing investigator. If I'd have done what she done,
That's
I'd
why,
been gone.
that's why
Okay.
we're trying to gather the
We're liable for
information.
that. We're liable. I mean,
Hang on, Jose. That's why we're trying to gather information and we're gonna give it to our boss and then let them go from there.
I mean, she says, if it's
Because
spot,
if it's
That's right.
trying to turn around that it was our call, that call would have came from me and me only, not Oscar.
Understandable. All right, sir, well, is there anybody who'd like to say anything? Any more questions?
did you ask her what did she mean by a spot? Because there could be a water spot, there could be a shadow spot, there could be all kinds of things. She said spot on the radio, but she's on the radio.
When she called me in the stand, she said she called it a trench.
A trench.
So, and it was just basically an indention right around the 9.5 to the 10 hole.
Okay, nothing to do with the bottom,
Right.
nothing to do with, I mean, that's, yeah.
And
I
to
mean,
be honest, the Harrows hadn't even hit that spot yet. So,
Okay.
and that was
Thank
when
you.
I had
Room for the guy to foot,
I had the
some-
guild
okay.
reps out there.
I appreciate
They're
that,
like,
sir.
we've got 3 races, let's just get through them and we'll be out of here. And then that's when I
There's
saw
all kinds of things that
tractors
can happen, you know.
circling.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Right. And,
That's terrible. She said on the radio and all that, you know what I mean?
okay, we understand. Let me call you back. Anyway, that's all we're trying to do is gather the information and we'll pass it on to our bosses because that is why we're here today. And we understand that the protocol wasn't followed, but the jockeys didn't call anything. And that's, that's why when he went down there, he grabbed them to make sure that they were okay with the racetrack. And yeah, you should have been the first call. We understand that. That was a mistake on
On my
our
part.
end, But we didn't know who was involved, who'd called who. All he got was a phone call from Leasa. He went down because he does work for HISA and he is a safety steward for HISA, so he went down to the track and we were up there trying to figure out what was going on. And so...
And Tony's the safety director for HISA on our end.
Oh,
So,
okay.
That's why, another reason he's here.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so when he went down there, and then we were just kind of waiting to find out what happened. He came up, said the riders were good, and so we thought we were going,
Yeah.
and then the tractor kept going.
Oh, wow,
And-
so it was before that, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, anyway, we're just trying to gather information. We appreciate you guys coming, and thank you so much. Is there anything anybody'd like to add?
So is this a hearing or is this just an investigation?
It's not a hearing. I
Okay.
just wanted to get on record so our higher-ups could hear everything that took place. We recorded the ones
Okay,
with them
yeah.
too,
Oh, I'm just
because
piggybacking off
I'm
that.
not gonna remember everything
Yeah, no,
everybody
I'm-
said.
Because I was told it was a hearing, I just want to make sure, because in my understanding, if it was a hearing, everybody should be here.
I agree.
And then I just got a quick question, so
There may, in time, not to interrupt you, but
No,
there
no,
may
no.
could
So,
be something that
did
comes
Leasa
later.
Johnson say there was a trench? Is she
Yes.
the only one claiming there was a trench?
When
No-
she called me, that's what she said. There's like a trench in the track.
No
So-
jockey?
No jockey, it was her.
So just Leasa
So I told those two, it sounds like there's an issue on the track. I'm gonna go down. As soon as I started headed down, I called the guild rep, Ricky Ramirez, and Nicasio and Noe Garcia. 3 of them came out there. We looked at it. It wasn't a huge issue. We thought it could just be harrowed because it was more of a tire track than anything.
Okay, so no jockeys
And
complained?
no, they wanted
Just
to go.
Leasa Johnson.
We all 3, myself and the riders at that time decided, let's go. It's not a big deal. We've been running on it all day. We got 3 races left. We got rain coming. Well,
Yeah.
so happens, we have a bigger delay, and then now we
The
get
rain
poured on.
comes.
Yeah.
And we could have got through almost all, there would probably been 11 in the gates by the time the rain hit
Okay.
on the 14th.
And then, like Don Cook asked, what is Leasa Johnson's job title? And does she have any track maintenance experience? So why was she out there? Because I've been told since I've been in here, I don't go out on that track unless I'm called. So I will not go out on that track unless either Don or one of you say, hey, you need to be out on that track. I don't know why she was there making these calls.
That's
That
why
delayed
we're
a race for
investigating.
over, how long, 30 minutes? It delayed an event for 30 minutes. No trench, that's what I'm hearing. There was no trench found.
There was an indention, but it was more like a tractor tire.
Okay.
Well, you know how they make the indentions?
Yeah.
That's what it
That's
looked
not a
like. And
trench,
it went for a
that's-
pretty good
yeah.
ways, but
And then no,
it could have been narrowed.
no complaints from the jockeys?
None at all.
Okay, I'm good.
And Don, if you want to get a description of that, I think that there should be something in ARCI about investigators, and you as being a former investigator should know too. If you want to get that description, I can try to get something from Izzy, or if you could, to see if there's an outline of what their duties should be. But we just wanted to make sure everybody got their say, and we can pass all this on, and we appreciate you guys
And thank
coming.
you guys too,
Okay.
because this put some clarity in my eyes too, because I didn't know what was going on either, you know? Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Jose, thank you. All right,
Appreciate
guys.
all of you. Thank you